Anyway, I'm Benny the Jet, and I mean, you're talking about living legends here right now, and this is really, I mean, to actually, this doesn't happen often, man, and when if it does, it's truly a blessing to get everybody, this type of talent together, and see, can you just introduce yourself, just say, for our viewers, man, that are watching, you know?
Hello, my name's Steve Sexton.
Hi, I'm George Chung. Kenny Herrera.
Superfoot.
Michael Jai White.
The Jet.
Steve Smith.
Dave Wheaton.
And I just want you to know that 4 of us here are losing our hair. So,
More than that.
Not that you needed to.
well, just to let you know that hair is highly overrated.
That I'm in agreement with. But, actually, with this type of, truly, this type of talent, man, to be together, man. What exactly, because Bill and I were talking about back in the 60s. Hey, we're talking about, 65, 66, 67, the things how it was back then, all of us, to go back in that era, and how the art of war was there. And we talked about the Bushido way, the code of honor between warriors. And we lost that. That's what we were talking about. We lost the code of honor somewhere along the line. And I think when in 73, full contact karate came in, we were fighting in it was Hawaii. And then actually the PKA started. And then the WK started. But the point I'm making is it started to change it was like a dividing between we're martial artists, and the other ones were, we're kickboxers and you're martial artists and this and that. So the martial artists saying, yeah, well, go out in the street, just take care of it. And kickboxers saying, we're the true warriors. And there was a dividing between that. And then grappling, later on, grappling came in. And then there was dividing between the grapplers and the kickboxers. Yeah. And it was the same thing went on. And then MMA fighters, cage fighting between grapplers, there was a dividing. What's your thought?
Well, I think it's a big circle. Before there was anything else, there was wrestling. You have a piece of meat, I want it. So I grab the piece of meat. We don't know how to punch or kick or hit stuff, so we'd grapple around for the piece of meat. Then one of us would go up, grab a piece of wood or something, hit you over the head with it, take the wood and be gone. So basically, it was wrestling first, then weapons. And then somebody learned how to punch because there's no weapon and you learn how to punch. Or kick. So now you have the grappling with the kicking. So basically jiu-jitsu or whatever it was, MMA was probably second on the list after wrestling. And then you have the coordination of the movement. But whatever happens in that circle, once entertainment comes into play, once paying for a ticket comes into play, that now we lose a lot of stuff. The respect and everything. When the Olympics come out in 2020 and they have karate in the Olympics, I'm very interested to see what's going to happen. If they have it the old JKA way, whether it's like this or the dancing around, the bouncing around like the taekwondo does, but it's going to have to be entertainment, because if you understand, when the taekwondo fights are out there now in the Olympics, the taekwondo group is the only area that you can buy a ticket the day of the competition. But that tells us something.
Yeah. But does anybody agree that, first of all, no matter what sport you have, no matter what you're coming from, you have to have a hero. And whether it be in taekwondo, I don't care, kickboxing, you got to have a hero. And whatever he comes out where people connect to that visually, they say, man, that's one bad character. And so you find a hero, and so you find people that follow that hero.
Well, I think there's truth to that on both sides. I mean, even the people out there that don't care about respect, that are watching the match, they're not going to see anything wrong with the guy being disrespectful. But there are still guys out there that are respectful, like Machida, for instance. Uh-huh. He's always very respectful after a fight. I like that. And I think it got really carried away. It all started, in my opinion, back in the 60s, even though he did it with a lot of class, but Ali used to talk a lot of smack about people, And and compared to today's antics, it was nothing, you know, he'd make rhymes out of it and stuff like that. But he was talking down to him, you know. You ever dream you can whoop me, better wake up and apologize, you know, stuff like that. And
Well, again, that is because of the entertainment.
Yeah,
He wanted,
exactly.
they hated, people, the fans, not his fans, but the fans hated him so much, they were willing to pay a lot of money to see him get beat,
Yeah, exactly.
to see him
Yeah.
lose.
But
he
I mean,
didn't
to go
lose.
as far
was
as,
rare.
Yeah.
as far as, what's the Irish guy's name again?
Colin McGregor.
Yeah, McGregor, you know, I mean, he's going too far with
Well,
disrespect, in my
You,
opinion.
you know what, maybe, but again, the only ones that are making money is the good guy and the bad guy.
Yeah.
Everybody
True,
in between
True.
is getting lost. Is
Yeah,
getting.
everybody wants to make that money, it's just how far do you want to go, you know?
Yeah.
What's your thoughts? I mean,
I think we're talking about, different things.
Sure.
There's different, categories. There's, to pick up on one of the things that you said that I feel is that there's that honor that's been missing because of the sport element of it. I tell people all the time, well, these are my feelings, is that martial arts, being a martial artist is a way of life. That's something that transcends everything. That's something about becoming a better person. I think that is very connected to, as martial arts, in my opinion, has been somewhat like a paramilitary organization. It's regimented to kind of galvanize a better person, a stronger version of ourselves, which is the greatest thing that you can do for humanity and yourself. Now, the sport element, that's its own animal. And, and it's fun. It's fun, but it is only one thing. And I feel like when I was fighting, I was that was a small part of me as a martial artist.
Plus, it has to be entertainment.
Exactly. But like I would say, okay, yeah, I grew up bigger and stronger than a lot of people. I had some natural gifts, okay? I could let those gifts be a crutch and just develop only one part of myself. But, yeah, big guy, get down and do that kata. Yeah, put as many repetitions as the small guy. In wushu, move as light as this guy at 140. Now, test yourself. Now you become the better version of yourself. And so, to me, that's what it's all about. In life, you're overcoming obstacles all the time. And I think that's the greatest thing to give another human being, where you got the belt, one belt to the next. It's like life, And so that's our contribution to the world. And I don't want people to lose track of that wonderful thing, that thing that we're instilling in our children to train harder, push yourself harder and become the better version of yourself.
what's your thoughts about that?
I had the good fortune of running Sherman's Karate when Joe Louis owned it and Bob Wall. And so back in those days, it was so different because there was no open competition. There was a Shotokan tournament, there was different tournaments. And then Chuck and Mike Stone put together the 4-season karate tournaments, a tournament every quarter, open tournaments. It was great. It was a great experience. And things were totally different back then. When I tested for my purple belt under Joe Louis, first test, the board was Joe Louis, Chuck Norris, and Mike Stone. They showed up to test a guy for a purple belt. And it was just different. And one day, Joe came to work, and his key didn't fit the lock, and found out that Chuck had bought the school. And that's how I got affiliated with Chuck Norris. And it just was a great experience because that was the headquarters for West Coast. There was East Coast Karate, West Coast Karate. The rest of it was just flyover territory, with the exception of Texas, maybe. And it was a phenomenal experience because all the great fighters at that time came through that school because they wanted to train with Joe, they wanted to train with Bill, they wanted to train with Chuck, they wanted to see Bruce Lee. I mean, he lived in the hills behind the school. It was an amazing time. And I've got perspective on it now, and I wish I'd appreciated those days more than I did when I was living them. But all the great fighters came through there, Fred Wren and the rest of them, and they all want, and Louis Delgado, they all want to come out and train with Chuck and Joe and Bill and the other people that live in this area. So, that's my frame of reference. And the rest of it that's come after, to some extent, is a little bit disappointing to me. I mean, martial arts has evolved. It went from, this to mixed martial arts. And, when they first started those mixed martial arts tournaments, the Gracies, nobody knew how to fight on the ground. So the Gracies would just take your first shot, take you to the ground, and choke you out. And so the stand-up fighters had to raise their game. They had to learn how to grapple, and the grapplers had to learn how to stand-up fight and so forth. And now when people are studying mixed martial arts, they learn the ground skills and they learn the stand-up skills. So, I mean, it's a much stronger system than it ever was back then, but
Do you believe that they learn just enough to get by or to be dangerous to themselves?
well,
There are some
Yeah.
are very good
Yeah.
at it, stand
Yeah.
up, and very good on
Right.
ground. But some of them that are mixed martial arts, they're doing just enough. Okay, show me how to choke and show me how to do something,
Well,
and they're learning just enough to.
I absolutely agree.
You know-
And there is no defense in the mixed martial arts.
No.
I mean, it's, if you look like Chuck Liddell, I mean, he just came right down the middle at you. Knew what he was going to do. It's just who could take more punishment. And to me, that's not a good way to learn how to fight.
You find out in the mixed martial arts also, as in boxing, your brain can only take so much punishment.
Yeah.
And in karate, when Joe Louis and I did the exhibition in 1990, it was designed an exhibition because I was 46, Joe was 48 and a half, 47 and a half. He was a year and a half older than me. So the state of Nevada says you cannot have a fight because you guys are over the age limit, which is 45. So we did a 7-round exhibition match. So we go out there and beat the shit out of each other, pardon my expression. And after it's over, we go back to the dressing room having a blast. And the commissioner from Nevada comes and says, "What the hell do you think you guys are doing? This will never happen again. We will never allow this to happen." Just like in the movie Creed. He couldn't get a boxing license because he was over 45. And I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, that was no exhibition, that was a fight. I said, "That's the way we spar. The way martial artists spar, we hit each other. And boxing is like, ayah, ayah, ayah." And you go, no wonder nobody wants to watch a boxing exhibition. But that's what they get mad about. And the beauty of it is, people still remember that. People remember the fights that we were doing, the fights that Benny did, and the forms that George did and so forth, to where, people, wow, that was something else. And the beauty of it is, we get emails now from, I taught at Memphis State University, and I still get emails from students that say, "Hey, wow, that was one of the best classes I ever had when I was at Memphis State. I don't remember this or this or this, but I remember the karate class at Memphis State University." And you go, well, TKI now, they just reopened in Memphis, which is part of the Elvis Presley thing. They're making it a thing now that where you can visit that school, to where I trained with Elvis and so forth, to where you go, wow. Where nowadays, people don't remember Ty Cobb. They know Babe Ruth did something a long time ago, hitting home runs or something like that. But, between Babe Ruth and the new guys, Gil Hodges. People don't remember Gil Hodges. Some of the Don Drysdale. Who's he? Unless you're a baseball player. So, and we try to get up people that took our classes, people that did seminars with us and so forth and whatever. You go, "Hey, wow, I remember you." And it's, okay, I feel pretty good now. What we did was not in vain. When Benny and I was fighting, and George will remember this, and Steve and Kenny, we grew up in the blood and guts era, to where you went out there and you literally in Texas knocked the living, pardon my expression again, knocked the shit out of each other. I remember fighting Donnie Williams, wonderful guy, heck of a fighter. He put a punch through my chest. Probably 10 seconds into the fight, I went, "Ow, that hurts. Point." And they went, "Okay, I agree with that." I hit him in the head with a round hit, knocked him out. And I went, "Well, that takes care of that." Point. What? And he's on the ground. Point.
Not
And I
excessive.
went, "Oh, shit. What did I get myself into now?" Because, and that's the way we fight. Well, I'm from Indiana, to where, I never got in a fight in high school. And I go, "Whoa, okay." I don't know if I want to do this anymore or not. But, but it started being fun. Because, hey, because of the wrestling background, I found I could take a little bit. But, it's how things evolve. First
now
of
you
all,
knew what time it was.
Yeah, you would knock the crap out of each other, and then be buddies afterwards. Go out drinking afterwards. Some of the best times we had is at the black belt parties afterwards,
Yeah, that's right.
and have a blast. Now, but when the tournament's over, everybody's gone.
Yeah.
Is there a tournament? Is there a party? No. What? And we fought on hard concrete floors. In Dallas, Texas, you fought on a concrete floor. So because there weren't a whole lot of black belts at the time, we had to help referee. We had to help judge. So we're walking around all day long on this hard concrete floor, and about 4 o'clock, maybe 5 o'clock, Alan Steen would say, "Black belts, warm up. You're going to fight pretty soon." Well, we've been on that hard concrete since 8 o'clock that morning. Now we're going to spar on concrete. Now understand, sweeps were allowed, takedowns were allowed, throws were allowed, and you could step on the guy.
Most of all,
Groin
you
kicks.
can grab him.
Yeah, and you could grab him,
grab onto
and you
him.
could step on him, and you could kick him in the groin.
Well, that was-
In Texas, as long as you didn't bite him, it was a point.
That was Joe's technique. He'd
Yeah.
grab you and kick you in the ribs.
Yeah.
Joe's school was funny. I was thinking back. He had a linoleum floor, and after you worked out for about 15 minutes, it was like working out in a skating rink.
Oh, yeah.
Because you got all
Sweat,
sweaty
sweat,
and,
yeah.
and he was slipping around. And, if you put any protection on at all, you just wrapped your wrist in adhesive tape. Because there was, June Rhee hadn't come out with the safety stuff yet. And, it was a brutal thing.
Oh, yeah.
Don't you think there's a cultural shift, though? I mean, you talk about the Bushido. We grew up mastering fundamentals and basics, and I grew up in music, and it was like learning your scales. And to your point, Michael, today people, they just want to fight. They don't want to spend those hours mastering those fundamentals and basics, learning those scales. They just want to go out and play music. So teach me a little bit of this and that to where they can go out and participate. Those days, that's what built that Bushido. It's having that discipline that when you're gassed and tired, you keep going anyway when you're hurt. And I'm not sure a lot of that is still around. It is in certain pockets of the martial arts community, but it's not as widespread as it was back
Yeah,
then.
well, I call that the glory days in certain cases because, well, when you instituted the safety gear, that was a complete shift because
Yes,
now,
exactly, yeah.
yeah, now you no longer have to condition your hands properly, and you could take everybody's shot now. So therefore, someone who might have stopped at yellow belt is going all the way to black belt. They're not overcoming another obstacle, which is real pain.
Yeah.
And so that's another thing. So the black belts in that era never had to go through that, and then by result never had to overcome and be that I guess galvanized as the.
What's your thoughts? I mean,
With George with the XMA, the new forms. George was